Welcome back to the Caregivers Corner. I'm Lauren Maxey with NC Planning, and today I want to touch on the top 3 things that I discuss with new caregivers. Now, in my day-to-day practice, I come across a lot of individuals, very commonly a child of an older adult parent that is thrust into this caregiving role, and it can be very overwhelming. So today I wanted to share the 3 things that I discuss with caregivers to keep top of mind as we're embarking on this journey. Now, number 1 is gather as much information as you can. As you can imagine, this can be a little overwhelming, but knowledge is power, as with everything. So gathering as much information, we certainly discuss from the legal perspective the importance of having your legal documents in place, making sure as the caregiver you're actually able to legally step in and help your loved one. So healthcare power of attorney, financial power of attorney, HIPAA authorization, all those key documents, making sure we've got kind of the foundation estate plan in place. And then we also discuss from a caregiver's perspective, making sure to have a baseline. So documenting what can your loved one do on their own? What does day-to-day look like right now? Because if you're in it every day, it can be hard to see some of the progressions. So by commonly documenting what are we able to do, what are we not able to do, what am I as caregiver having to help with at this point, will help you see how quickly things are progressing. And that will also help as you're talking with doctors. And that's the other part of gathering as much information as possible. So talking with your physicians about what are therapies, what are treatments that may be available, and what's in particular appropriate for your loved one, because everyone's case is different. And then asking the doctor, what are some things to expect in the future? So you are empowered and can keep an eye out on certain indicators. And then communicating with family members. That's the other big thing. As you're gathering this information, it's unfortunately oftentimes on the caregiver to disseminate that information. So very commonly, the caregiver can be one child in a family, and if there's multiple children or children living in another state, those individuals can feel out of touch and just worried about what's going on with mom or dad. So by having, whether it's regular family calls or what have you, but having that open communication, update to everyone on what's going on, where things are at, can be incredibly helpful and hopefully negate some issues, some concerns before they arise. So number 1, gather information and share it with family members. Number 2 is a common one, where realizing we can't do everything. And so self-care, taking respite, taking some time for yourself, because very oftentimes the caregiver role is a 24/7 type role, but taking a step back, bringing in other resources. And again, we talk a lot about that with clients of how to pay for those resources, but taking some time for yourself. You cannot be the caregiver that you want to be if you're running on empty. So that is incredibly, incredibly important. We talk about that with caregivers a lot, of recognizing you're only human. You can't do everything as much as we all want to, but taking that respite is so, so important. And that kind of leads me to number 3, is seeking out support. And that is what this group is all about. And so I'm so excited about it, but it very commonly, that support doesn't come from other family members. If they're not in it day to day and they're not the caregiver, they might just not understand what you're going through. And so in forums like this, sharing your experiences, reaching out with questions, encouraging one another, incredibly, incredibly important. So again, we're really excited about this to be a forum for individuals we know to come together and help one another. And that's really, again, top 3 things. It seems simple, but it is, when you're in it, can be so overwhelming. Just gather as much information as you can, take care of yourself, take that respite, and make sure you've got that support group in place. And that's it for today. And as always, take care.